Welcome to Get in the Lab, the raw truth about couples in business. My name is Megan Pangan.
And I'm Kevin Lee Vu.
And let's get in the lab. All right, so episode number 3, guys. Welcome back. Thank you so much for joining us today. The topic for today, and we're going to get into a lot, kind of concerns about, well, I didn't get into it the first episode, which we probably should have talked about, but why we named it Get in the Lab, or why I named it Get in the Lab. And I had written it down somewhere, and I was like, I had this idea about getting in the lab and working on yourself. And we've recently been getting into fitness. And I just had this idea in my mind. So I wrote it down somewhere on a notepad or something. And I said, I'm going to name something that. And that was about a month ago. And then finally, I'd been, secretly pushing this idea of a podcast to Kevin. And when he said yes, I was like, yes, I already have a name for us, Get in the Lab. And getting in the lab kind of refers to the inner work that you have to do in order to grow, right? In order to expand your business, your relationship, and you got to do a lot of inner work. So I don't know. What'd you think about the name when I first told you? Nothing.
Nothing came in mind. You just you just named it one day.
Okay, so what does that mean to you, though?
Get in the lab?
Yeah, like the inner work that you got to do to kind of expand. Do you have anything to say about, working on yourself to be better? Like, you're doing this podcast.
Yeah, well, getting in the lab can also mean doing experiments throughout your relationship, because in relationship, there's no correct way in how to be together, so you have to break it down, things that you accomplish together and things that you have to work on. So yeah, in the lab has some connotation of an experiment. Yeah.
That's spot on. Yeah. Experiment. Yeah. That's how I look at it. And not in a weird way, but I'm experimenting outside the relationship.
Yeah.
No, everything is an experiment, especially this podcast. So we're just seeing how it goes. No pressure, right? We have no rules. This is the very raw, uncensored, no rules look at how we do things over here. And we just want to share that with you guys. So that is why we named it Get in the Lab. And I think I wanted to make that clear. But anyway, some of the first questions rolled in through Twitter the other day, and I really want to thank those people. And we're going to get to that at the end of the episode. But first, the topic for today. So I would like us to kind of discuss what our 3 tips for starting a business would be. Mm-hmm. What's your 3 tips?
3 tips. Well, the most important one is knowing what you're doing.
How so? That's kind of broad.
Specifically, know what you're offering to either the world or to a very niche group, knowing what you're selling. And the second one is what is the foundation that needs to be accomplished for this business. And
foundation. Do you mean what is the work that has to be done?
Yeah. What's the work that has to be done to sell a product, sell yourself, or whatever it may be?
Well, let's get more specific. So you're in the photo industry. If you could go back and do things over again, or if you could refine things or work on things more, what would those 3 things be?
If I was to refine...
Yeah, if you could go back a couple years and just tell yourself don't do that, or do this, or focus on this.
Well, I know there's always I felt we were in a great direction for our time as photographers, because I did my research in how to be a successful photographer as well as being a successful business person.
What was that? So what was the research that you were doing?
Well, mainly marketing.
Okay.
And back in the day, 3 years ago, SEO was the thing. SEO, not a lot of people knew how to do it.
Right.
Yeah. Until now, there's a bunch of service like being provided for everyone. It's out there. You can use it, but it's not going to benefit you now.
Why do you think that?
Just because it's like a short-term marketing, and you're spending like probably over $9,000
Shoo.
just to be on first page. But a lot more people nowadays are being smarter. They realize that not everyone on first page is like providing the best service, the best quality of work. It's actually those that just do things naturally.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So, I mean, nowadays I've been seeing a lot of people like just giving up SEO and just being more personable in their brand.
Well, you personally, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's talk about that, because I think that was kind of a big turning point for us, because I was learning all these things online on how to provide value. And my thought about being an entrepreneur was you're making money. There's some way that you get rich. Like I had this idea about entrepreneurship, and they do something and it's all about money. And then I started to learn from people like Pat and John, Lewis, Greg, like all these names of this kind of new wave of online business. And the first thing that they talk about is how can I serve? And they're pulling a lot of money as well, but it's not really the main focus. If you really listen to what they put out, if you really read what's being put out, there's a lot of tactics, and there is a lot of shit out there, like 5 ways to get more Facebook fans, and stuff like that, kind of shallow based content. But if you really listen and you've been listening to them consistently, it's about service. And I was just thinking about this morning because during my little meditation, there was like a guided meditation thing, and they're talking about service, and I was like, yes, entrepreneurship is all about service. Well, this kind of new wave of entrepreneurship. So, and I think that's more lasting, because like you said, the SEO tactics and stuff like that, it's short term, it's temporary, and you spend so much money only to, your first page, but then, Google algorithms changes and now you have to pay again or something. And it's very shallow. You're not really serving the online community, and that's why you get kicked off.
Exactly.
So it makes sense, right?
Yeah.
It's like you didn't deserve that spot in the first place.
Yeah.
You just paid for it. Like that's a cheat almost, right? It's a little bit of a cheat. And so that didn't sit well with me, because we were doing that with our business, with our photography business. And I said, well, why don't we really offer value? And I think, when we started to really be on the same page of him viewing me as an entrepreneur and you being okay with my ideas about marketing. And now we're actually going through this really cool transformation where we're going to be providing, better content that's more valuable, that's organic, that's evergreen. And so we're going to rise to the top because it's not bullshit. Right? And I believe in our work, and I believe in what you put out, and there should be no reason why we shouldn't be ranked just as high as the people who are doing the backhanded just pay for the first page and stuff like that. So I believe in our work, and so I have no problem, like maybe it'll take a little bit longer than paying somebody, but we're definitely going to rise to the top because we have this idea of let's make something outstanding.
And a third tip is, believe in your work.
Yeah, that's very important.
Yeah. If you don't believe in your work, you're not confident that you can accomplish your goals.
Yeah.
You're not confident in your product
or
yourself to produce things that people may like, or it all starts from there. Is believing in yourself.
When did you? I want to ask you, like, when did you start thinking, hey, I could go do that? Or was it, what first inspired you to shoot weddings? Because you weren't always shooting weddings.
Yeah, I didn't start with weddings, actually. I mean,
when did you go, I could do that. I could do that for, and you enjoyed it or whatever. Like,
well, first it was just picking up, like, this is when digital SLRs were first available in 2000, I would say around 2005. This is where the Canon 5D was famous for. I didn't pick the 5D first. I kind of picked up like a kit lens like most people do.
Oh, what was your kit lens?
It was like Olympus. I don't know.
Olympus.
Like,
okay.
Yeah, it was very small, mediocre.
What was the range? Do you remember?
It was. I'm not sure. It was way too long ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, so surprisingly, my mom like delivered that camera to some of my relatives in Vietnam, and they're still using it still today.
Well,
Yeah.
if it works, it works.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But what first inspired me is just seeing all these amazing landscape photos.
Landscape.
It really motivated me with the abstract art and everything. So yeah, that's all what I photographed when I first started, was just going out to different structures, photograph it in 20 different ways, like different angles. And yeah.
Cool. Okay. I didn't know that. So that's cool. Let's see. What were we talking about? I kind of lost track of my thought.
I think, well, is believing in yourself.
Oh, believing in yourself.
Yeah.
Right. We were talking about believing in yourself. So was there ever a time where you were like, when you doubted what you were doing, or when you were maybe you're comparing, because everybody deals with this. Don't tell me you haven't compared yourself, but like everybody kind of has insecurities. Was there, talk about those moments that, you were struggling with?
I mean, I shadowed the Tofurious brothers for like a good year and a half. They did show me a ropes a lot about wedding photography. And I remember attending my first workshop with Mike Cologne, Jessica Clare, and other big names back in the day. I mean, some of them are still big names. But yeah, during that time, just seeing their work, it amazed me. So I did follow those people for a long time and just compare my work with theirs. But then I realized that most of my stuff, not just quality, was a little different in style and everything. And I felt like, I remember a teacher of mine that told me, like, in order to, think out of the box, you got to do it yourself, compile those styles together into your own style. So not just like kind of follow every single thing that your idol or whoever it may be, like where everything looks like it's just replicated. Yeah. It's not your own work, basically.
Was there a time when you felt like you were just replicating work? Because you were just learning or something?
Well, yeah, it felt I was replicating because I've been shadowing like a photographer for a long time, and keeping my work consistent with theirs, that they can utilize these photos for their clients.
How long was a long time?
Long time is a year for me.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that
is a long time.
That is a long time, actually. Yeah. So
I mean, so going back, like, you wouldn't want to do anything differently or focus on something more, or did it all, like, it happened for a reason and that's why you're here?
Yeah, I felt everything happened for a reason. I felt like I wasn't off track in anything. The only thing that put me off track was determining if I wanted to carry on with photography or carry on with what I was currently studying, which was nursing. I felt I was leaning more towards photography just because of the flexibility, and I love it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And yeah, that was
cool. Yeah. I think that's pretty important. I think, like, when I was, deciding whether or not to quit my job in corporate, like, it was almost kind of like, man, I felt so, like, in a bad place, because, like, here you were doing your thing, and then I couldn't figure out what I wanted to do. Like, I was like, man, am I stuck here? Am I just going to do this thing? Like, inspect businesses for hazmat and drive around in some car with a backache all the time and be away from the home because it was so far away as well. But yeah, you've got to do what you love.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and a lot of people, they don't feel that it's, that's them. They had that opportunity and that's why that works. Or they have no kids. That's why they can do that. And, there's tons of people out there who are doing exactly what we're doing or being entrepreneurs or doing what they love, and they have much crazier lives than us. I mean, we have a very low tolerance for crazy. Like, we couldn't even handle a cat. So we gave her away. And we have a very low tolerance. Like, this is not crazy at all. Like, we have a very systemized thing going on over here. So there's other people that can be an example for other people because they have much crazier lives going on. Yeah. We have this opportunity, but it's not something that we take for granted at all. Like, yes, this is the life that we chose. So anyway, I think I want to get to the question.
Okay.
All right. So let me go look on Twitter. Let me see here. Oh, did you know Shawn Stevenson hit me up on Twitter and he was like, hey, I got a favor. Could you listen to my, pre-release of this episode? And then we get to chatting and stuff like that. And I asked him a question. I was like, you say walking is supposed to be the most easiest form of movement because you've got to move to activate the hormones in your body so that you can burn fat. You've got to move. And walking is one of the easiest ways. And I was like, when I walk, I get a little itchy. Right? And I was telling him about my weird skin problem where I was talking to a client the other day and they said they get itchy as well, but it's because of the cold weather. Were they fat?
What?
Were they fat?
Really?
No. Were they heavy set or anything?
No.
Okay. So my issue is because I carry most of my weight in my legs and in my bottom half. So it's a weird thing that the fat that sits on top of the tissue, the muscle tissue, it's a weird kind of connection thing there. And he was telling me, and it creates a sort of irritation in the skin. And so that's why I'm itchy, is because that's where I carry most of my fat. That's where all of my fat. Yeah. That's there. I could see it. I could see that, that cellulite, and that's where I get my rashes. And I was like, holy crap, all this time.
So you got to do more leg press.
Yeah. I got to do more leg press. I got to eat less too. So I just got to lose, I think the body fat's around 18% or something like that. Should be. So, I mean, we're slowly, actually I'm slowly getting into fitness. Kevin's been really taking off with fitness. I'll hear him working out on the battle rope for an hour.
Yeah.
All right, let's get to the Twitter question. All right. Our first question on Twitter. Thank you so much to LJ at A Journey East. We're going to throw that question up right here. Okay. So I'm going to read it. Hardest thing about working with your spouse. Your best tip for standing out in a competitive industry like photo. So what's the hardest thing?
The hardest thing in... what was the question?
The hardest thing about working with your spouse.
I need to see it.
What's the hardest thing? What comes to mind? What first pops in your brain? That was kind of hard for me to think as well.
Conflict between creativity, because we're both creative people and you're trying to balance a certain style within your photography business.
Not anymore.
This was before.
Yeah, that was before.
Yeah, if you were starting out, those are the things that
because it was here, go shoot the guys, and I'm like, okay. No direction, right? And then go shoot the guys, and then I shoot it like that, and then come back, and then it's like, oh, what is this? Right? And then it would be very I would get butthurt because it's well, you told me go shoot it. I went and shot it myself. So that's what I did. And then I can't read your mind. And I think that was that was such a big headache for me, because you would sit down with me and editing photos or whatever. And you would make changes right to your editing style. And this is when I was editing my own photos for you. And it was different every single time. And it's dude, I can't keep up with you. I'm just trying to do what you tell me. Yeah. And I felt it was pretty difficult as well. Yeah.
I didn't know how to.
We didn't know.
Yeah, we didn't know. Yeah,
we didn't know how to talk.
Basically, like constructive criticism was very difficult back in the day.
Right. I think because it kind of like that. It kind of says something about our personalities. Like, I think in some ways we're completely different, opposite people. And then in some instances we're exactly the same. Like, we kind of have loner tendencies. We like to work alone. Yeah. And we like to manage things and to like be things our way. And like, I think that attributes to how we grew up. Like, I was an only child for like 8 years, and then my sister was born. But already I had been, the habits had been formed, and then you were an only child. So I think that kind of attributes to the loner kind of thing. Like, I like to work alone. I can work alone fine, and I don't need anything else. Yeah. Like, that's the introvert kind of thing. And so that was difficult, like working as a team. And we had no concept of team in the beginning. Yeah. For like 3 years or something. Yeah. There's no concept of team. And it was kind of embarrassing, kind of funny to look back now. Yeah. Because we're so removed. But what about now? What's the hardest thing now?
Hardest thing now? There's nothing really. I think we just show up on the weekends, and I mean, what's the hardest thing for you?
We do a good job. I think the hardest thing is probably because I'm different now, which means I'm like, I can be almost the like extrovert of the two of us. When I first met Kevin, he seemed like an extrovert. Like, he was throwing parties and, he had a lot of friends. I never had a lot of friends. I was like, oh, this guy's different. He's extroverted. And actually, we're both introverts, but I can turn it on more. So I think I come with a lot of energy at you sometimes, and you're like, what? Especially with this new kind of look we're taking on the business side, like being transparent and this podcasting thing and all that stuff. Like, I always kind of think, oh, maybe when I get carried away, or if I can get carried away very easily because I'm very passionate about it. I could be kind of maybe too much on you. Is it too much on you?
No.
Or is it just like slow down?
No.
Okay.
Like, for me, I mean, I felt I was an extrovert before because I was reaching for a certain goal. I was trying to find my passion, try and network. But now that I accomplished one of my major goals was to find what I really like to do, I kind of settled down. I'm a little bit more quiet, more reserved. But I just also have a lot of things to do on my hand. So it kept me away from being out.
So I didn't make you a homebody? Because you were going out a lot before, right?
Well,
and
then
you're like, whoop.
I think that's just like anybody that's been like going out for so long, because I shot clubs at a young age, and I felt like I did the party scene already. So it's just time to calm down and just kind of grow up. So
grow up. Yeah. We don't mean to say if you party, you're not grown up.
Yeah.
I don't know. Sometimes you just got to party. I don't know. We don't really,
I mean,
we don't really party though.
No, we won't party
we don't party.
Like, back in the day or anything. So.
I never partied.
Yeah.
Not like other people do. I was like, whoa, that's a party. Okay. So, the second question though, B, was, what's your best tip for standing out in a competitive industry like photo? Let's talk about that, because before was like not competitive at all.
I think
or saturated.
Bring that third tip in to play right now is believing in your work. That's what's going to put you out in a very saturated industry. Just because when you believe in your work, believe in what you do. If you're no good, someone's going to tell you that you're not good.
So therein lies the conflict, right? So somebody, it's like me. So I take a photo, right? And it's like not straight or something.
Yeah.
And you go, that's not straight. That's not good.
Yeah.
And I go, well,
no one's going to be straight out of the camera.
Okay.
There's only straight. Like 2% people are going to be like
wrong here.
Very, very straight. But
okay, so when you say believe in your work, like dig in a little deeper, like what
believe in your style.
Yeah.
Create your own trends, basically, because like whatever's the trend right now, it's going to be oversaturated. People are going, like, every photographer is going to do it. But then if you create your own trend, people are going to follow you. And if you just keep stabbing at it, you're going to be more people are going to kind of notice you for this certain style.
I think that's pretty key. Like, I remember we were talking about, and we got into pretty good conversation before you were going to do a workshop. And I think it's so kind of cool because this is popping up more and more, which is just be yourself.
Yeah.
And like there's never a time when, you know, you weren't you and things didn't work out. Like, I feel like the more you that you can be, like maybe you're becoming a better you're not necessarily becoming somebody else.
Yeah.
That's like super powerful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is powerful. Yeah.
So.
Yeah, before I was like very professional businessman.
I tried to get him calmed down. I was like, could you like slouch a little bit?
I was like way straightforward and like everyone was intimidated to talk to me.
Yeah.
But then,
well, even me, I'm like.
But I think just with experience, you're just going to get more comfortable in your own business, you know?
Right.
You just need to, you know, kind of sit back and be yourself. And it just comes over time.
Right.
And that's how I felt. Like, I've been communicating with my clients a lot better versus before.
Right.
Yeah.
So, LJ, I hope we answered your question. If we cut out on the video, sorry. Please enjoy some pictures of us or something like that. All right, guys. So that was episode 3. I hope you really enjoyed it. I hope you got something out of it. We're going to be answering questions through Twitter. So ask us your questions on Twitter. Tag me at Megan J Photo and
at Kevin Levu.
Yep. And then with the hashtag #GetInTheLab. So submit your questions on Twitter and we'll be sure to answer them here on the show and feature your beautiful face or your Twitter profile. So we really appreciate the question. The first question in the Get in the Lab podcast. We really appreciate that. Keep sending them in. And you know what? Your questions can even be about random things. So do you guys like pie or something like that? We would love to kind of mix it up for the show just to not always talk about business. We always talk about business.
Yeah.
But we love it. So so with that, guys, you know, my name is Megan.
And my name is Kevin.
And we'll see you next time. We're out.
We out.